Good evening, folks.
Oh,
As people join, I'll be admitting them as they come in, but we're going to go ahead and get started in the interest of time. Jeff, it looks like you are, along with Anna, the only one joining me today, but there are several folks that will be viewing this later. So as a reminder, this is recorded for participants that are hosting cleanups that can't make it tonight. So to get started, this is the 2023 International Coastal Cleanup, or ICC, Beach Captain Training with Soundkeeper. My name is Aaron Wild. I use he, they pronouns, and I'm the stewardship manager here at Soundkeeper. Just a brief overview of who we are and what we do. Our mission is to protect and enhance and actually preserve the waters of Puget Sound for the health and restoration of our aquatic ecosystems and the communities that depend on them. So we're a founding member of the Waterkeeper Alliance. We were founded in 1984. So we're coming up on our 40th anniversary next year in 2024. And the Waterkeeper Alliance is a global network of nonprofits who do similar work to us. We all do it in different ways, but we're all working to protect waterways around the world. And the way that Soundkeeper does that, we are on the water every week, cleaning up debris, documenting pollution, and taking action through our legal and policy programs as well. And as far as ICC goes, we have been a regional coordinator for that since 2010. And what that means is several different things. We run our own ICC events, meaning we host cleanups around the Sound, and we provide beach captain training for folks who are not necessarily on our staff to do that independently. We also help partner organizations and third-party entities coordinate and promote their events as well. And then all the data that comes in from around the Sound, we kind of coordinate that and compile it into a larger report. So that's kind of how we are involved with ICC. And what is ICC? So International Coastal Cleanup was started by the Ocean Conservancy, which is a very large nonprofit based in Washington, D.C., I believe. And they do similar work to us, but on a much larger scale. So they're working to protect oceans around the world. And the ICC original event started in 1986 in Texas. And it originally just started as one, I believe it was a Saturday in September, where people from all over Texas gathered to do a beach cleanup in their area, and they had over 2,800 volunteers for that first year. And the idea with the International Coastal Cleanup is not to just pick up debris, but to kind of record it in a standardized way, a data-taking way that's more standardized. So it's essentially like morphed into a global community science project that anyone can get involved with. There's over 100 countries that participate at this point. And the season, which started in September, now actually runs kind of from September through the end of December. And that's to allow folks from all over the world in different hemispheres and climates to have a chance to participate in this event. So it really is a large scale global community science project, and it really does have the ability to influence policy. I believe that the UN actually uses some of the data that comes from the International Coastal Cleanup every year. So last year in 2022, we collected around the Sound 2,075 pounds of trash. And our top three items, number one, almost always is cigarette butts, over 1,900 of them. Plastic and styrofoam pieces, which kind of is a larger category. That's kind of microplastics and styrofoam pieces as well, over 2,600 of those, food wrappers, and then plastic bottle caps, plastic bags, and we still have some holdovers from COVID, including gloves and masks and other PPE. We are seeing a reduction in that every year, but they are still hanging around. So this year, this is kind of an overview of all the events that we have on the docket so far, both for Soundkeeper as far as us running them or coordinating them, and our partner organizations and organizations that we're promoting or help coordinate. So you can see there's a map here of all the different pinpoint locations around the Sound that we've got going on. One of them that is not included in this map because it's too far north to capture is a cleanup being run by resources in the Surfrider Foundation, which is in Cherry Point Aquatic Reserve up in Ferndale. So that's quite north of the Seattle metro area. But we've got quite an array of locations this year. Bainbridge Island is actually their own regional coordinator as well, so they kind of handle their data collection, but they do cleanups all over Bainbridge Island, multiple locations. They're going to be doing that September 30th this year. We have Seahurst Park. We have a motivated volunteer, Sarah Phillips, who's running 2 canoe cleanups in Union Bay Natural Area out of the Washington Waterfront Activity Center at University of Washington. And some others that Soundkeeper are running include Magnuson Park and West Seattle on actual ICC Day, which is Saturday, September 16th. And then we are running one, Anna is running one at Bicentennial Park in Tukwila on the 23rd. And we have another one at Richmond Beach Saltwater Park on October 1st. So this is just what we have on the docket right now. As I mentioned, this is going to be recorded and posted. So as people kind of come to our International Coastal Cleanup webpage and see this link after I have shared it with our communications manager to post, people are more than welcome to continue to schedule volunteer hosted events for ICC throughout the season. So all the way through September, if you are interested and like what you see here in the training today, please feel free to contact me. I'll put my information and how to do that at the end of this presentation. So it is not too late to schedule an ICC cleanup by any means. And we do have 2 in October that we're promoting already. So let's get some more on this map for the season. Just in general, a lot of the folks that are running cleanups with us that will be viewing this training have done this before, but some of you have not. So general safety guidelines when running any kind of cleanup, it doesn't matter if it's in Seattle city limits or elsewhere. We do recommend that if you find sharps and syringes that you dispose of them in a sharps container or something similar. If you're borrowing supplies from Soundkeeper, you will receive a sharps container. If you're not and you would like one, please contact me. I can find a way to get one to you so it doesn't have to be in Seattle city limits. If you need a sharps container, please let me know. I'll connect you with that. If you're somewhere and you find a bottle with liquid in it, don't open it, don't dump it out. We don't really want to find out what it is. Just put the whole bottle into the bag or whatever receptacle you're using to dispose of your debris. Some common sense things, don't climb on rocks as they may be slippery, although I've been known to do that. So if you do so at your own risk. We do ask that people respect people's space and don't take anything that looks like it may belong to someone. We do have quite a large population of homeless folks here in the Puget Sound region, so just be respectful of their space and their belongings. Don't hoist garbage bags over your back. There might be like sharp wood or metal or just things you don't want touching you in those bags. And we just recommend that you don't hoist over your back for that reason. If you find a dead animal, don't touch it. If it's greater than 30 pounds and you're in the Seattle city limits, you can report it to the Find It, Fix It app, which if you need to know how to download that, you can also get in contact with me. If you're outside Seattle near a shoreline, there is a community science tool called COAST. I don't exactly know what the acronym stands for off the top of my head, but it's a community science project run by the University of Washington that looks at animal death around the sound and marine debris as an indicator of shoreline health. So they take that data. If trash is difficult to access or other debris is difficult to access or it's too large and you don't feel comfortable picking it up, you can leave it. Again, if you're within Seattle city limits, you can report it to Find It, Fix It app if it's greater than 30 pounds. And no matter where you are in the sound, if you spot pollution like an oil lake, discoloration, styrofoam dock, or anything that looks out of the ordinary, and tires as well, take photos of that, get as much information as you can, and you can call our hotline to report it. That's 1-800-42-PUGET. We also can take pollution reports by email and through our water reporter app as well. I did want to just bring up COVID-19 this year. I know that we kind of act like we're out of the pandemic, but it is still going on. And we have seen a recent uptick in COVID cases in the last month or so. And I would imagine that these are going to continue to increase throughout ICC season into the fall. So we're just, letting people know to use caution, use your best judgment. Masks are optional, but encouraged. If you have COVID-19, have been exposed, or have experienced any COVID-19 like symptoms in the past 10 days, we consider that you not attend an event or host an event if you're hosting that. If you do decide to attend an event, please wear a mask and practice social distancing if you are exposed or experiencing symptoms. And if you are borrowing supplies from Soundkeeper ourselves, we will provide hand sanitizer and masks if asked. And volunteers are encouraged to use that before and after the cleanup. If you borrow a cleanup kit from us, this is kind of an idea of what it would look like. So we provide trash grabbers, bags. These yellow bags that you see here are actually from the city of Seattle. They're from Seattle Public Utilities, and they have a QR code on them that you can actually scan and report directly into the Find It, Fix It app to facilitate trash disposal. You'll get a sharps container, like I mentioned earlier. That's that red container up there in the top right. Disposable gloves, reusable gloves, a scale to weigh trash, masks upon request if you would like them, hand sanitizer, a clipboard, a cleanup reporting form, including volunteer data cards, which I will get into in a little bit, instructions on how to use the ICC CleanSwell app, which we will also get into in a little bit, writing utensils, pens and pencils, and some talking points as well. So the talking points will be very similar to what we're covering in this training tonight. It'll include instructions, just general guidelines on how to conduct a cleanup, and safety guidelines as well. So ICC data collection, they do use a standardized method, though they do recognize that it is a community science project. So your data does not have to be perfect. A good effort is really all that we're looking for. And ICC collects data in a couple of different ways. The one that I want to share first is the one that they prefer. It is called the CleanSwell app. So it's actually an app on your mobile phone. It can be downloaded off of the App Store, the Apple App Store, or Google Play. So it works on both iPhone, Androids, and Google phones as well. You can download it completely for free. You do have to have access to a network to download it initially, but if you're using it in the field, it actually works without internet service. So they have designed this app to work well in remote areas because this is a global event. And there are folks that are, doing cleanups on the Amazon River that don't have access to internet. So this will work if you are outside of connection range, but you do have to be within somewhere that has connection to be able to download it initially. Once you download it, you'll kind of create an account. That's a one-time thing. Once you create that account, you'll stay logged in. And once you get started, you will find this homepage here, which says start a new cleanup. You'll enter some basic information about where you are, how many people you have, and what kind of event you have. And then you basically collect and record the things that you find, including number of people, distance covered. It kind of calculates that for you. And I'll show you some screenshots of what this actually looks like in action just after this. And you'll be able to count the number of items and types of items that you're finding, and also share photos and share on social media as well. And then you will, after you've collected all your data, you will click finish this cleanup, and then it'll ask you to kind of confirm the stuff that you've entered, and then you can finish it out from there. So if you have a cleanup kit borrowed from us, or if you would like a copy of this CleanSwell app instruction sheet, this is what will be in the kit itself. So if you would like one of these and you're not borrowing supplies from us, please let us know and I can provide those to you as well. But a little bit more detail about what this looks like in practice. From left to right here, these are 4 screenshots of kind of chronologically what it looks like when you're running a cleanup using CleanSwell. So after you've logged in and you get to this home screen here that says Let's Clean Up, you can see the global progress bar that Ocean Conservancy has going, where there's over 358 million pounds of trash collected so far. And you'll just hit start here under start a new cleanup. On this second screenshot here that says let's start this cleanup, you'll enter the number of people that are present at your event. Your group name, which is optional. However, this data that you collect through CleanSwell goes directly into Ocean Conservancy's database, which is called the TIDES database. And when we are looking at data as a regional coordinator, it's a lot easier for us to pull out Puget Sound data when it has that PSK in front of it, and that is just Puget Sound Keeper. Again, that's totally optional. We can look for these by like geographic location and by lat long, but having this group name does help us find that data a lot more quickly. The third option down, you can actually do different types of cleanups through here. So land-based is the most common, such as like walking a beach or a shoreline or a park. You can also do an on-water cleanup, which could include a kayak, canoe, a paddle board, things like that. And you can do an underwater cleanup as well. So if you're incredibly motivated and you are scuba certified, you can actually do an underwater cleanup with scuba gear as well, which we are actually running co-running an event that includes a diving portion this year with SR3 and Seattle Dive Tours. So that's an option as well. And it will auto-populate a location for you if you have location services turned on and you're within like a service area. If not, I believe you can select your location manually. And again, having that location and a group name helps us take that data from around the sound more easily at the end of ICC season to compile into our own report and also report back to Ocean Conservancy. So once you get all this done, it will pop you into this third screen here, which kind of has a counter up at the top, number of items, a total weight. It kind of estimates each individual thing. And as you add them on this icon interface, it starts to add up your weight for you. So even if you're running a cleanup and you don't have a scale, it'll start to like estimate that for you. And as you move around while you're doing your cleanup, it will track your distance as well, the distance that you've traveled over the beach or over the water or whatever. It'll also track the time you've spent cleanup as well. So this is just one section of items that the CleanSwell app will show you. This is the most common items. There are several more categories. I could have put 10 screenshots in here of all the different categories, but as you scroll through, you'll see there's like most common, more common, there's unusual items, and there's even like a PPE section as well. So you'll see pretty much any kind of item you would like. However, there are always items that don't fit neatly into one category, and we just ask that you use your best judgment on that. Again, like I said, Ocean Conservancy and Soundkeeper both acknowledge that community science data is not about being perfect. It's just about providing as much useful data as we can. So it's super easy. You just kind of tap on the icon of the thing that you're finding. So for example, I tapped 3 for plastic bottles, 5 cigarette butts, and a cup and a beverage bottle. And if you need to go into a category of items, let's say you accidentally hit the button more times than you intended to, you can long press, like hold down on any individual category. And when you long press, what you see here on the very far right is what pops up, and you can edit how many items you'd like to add. Like say you find 100 cigarette butts in one pile. You can just say long press, add 100 and update that amount, and it'll show up back on this home screen here. Or if you want to start over and recount the set of items that you have, you can actually go up here to the top left, and there's a little icon that's cut off on the right side of the screen here, but it will say remove all items from category. So that will zero it out, and you can start over with that item. And then as you go along, again, it will start counting your distance, your time, your weight, and your number of items. At the very bottom, there's an option to add photos. When you click on that, you have an option of taking a photo in real time, like opening your camera. You will have to let the app have camera permissions in order to do that, or you can choose to share a photo that's already in your gallery. We have had folks ask like what happens to the photos that go in here. they do go straight to Ocean Conservancy. So anything that you upload here, Ocean Conservancy can actually take those and use them in their reporting. So just keep that in mind. You're not required by any means to share photos of yourself or data or anything. However, we do encourage it because it does provide some really cool perspective on what people are finding. And it just is cool to see happy people helping to clean up the ocean. So once you do that, you hit finish this cleanup. You can actually edit the numbers that you have in here, and there's little like pencil tab things over here. You can click on that and edit any part of this. And then you just check that out, make sure it's all good. Once you scroll down a little bit, you can even like make your own little social media blurb here that says I cleaned the beach, and you can share that on your own social media or save it for another time. But once you're completely done, you just hit save and return to home, and that cleanup is then saved. And that data is then saved into the Tides database, which again, Soundkeeper and other regional coordinators around the world will go in and compile that all at the end of the season. So that was the CleanSwell app. That is the method that Ocean Conservancy is asking that we promote. And that's due to a number of things. It is a lot easier to get that data into Tides, the Tides database through the app, because it's like a direct admit kind of thing. And it also cuts down on paper usage and postage usage, because sometimes people mail their data cards back to Ocean Conservancy or to their regional coordinators. But if for whatever reason you can't access CleanSwell or you don't feel comfortable, there is the paper data card as well, which is what's shown on the screen here. This is double-sided, and it provides instructions right on it on how to use it. There's spaces for your name and email to contact whoever the organizer of the cleanup is. And there's a place to describe the site that you are cleaning up: saltwater, freshwater, island, or not island, inland, no body water present. You can do inland coastal cleanups, even though they're called coastal cleanups. It doesn't have to be right along the water. And then again, mode of collection: land, underwater, or watercraft. And then it's essentially like the CleanSwell app. It's just more handwritten. So you have your information that you fill out, like where are you, what state or province or country are you in. This one has an option for most unusual item collected. So I think last year they found like a mermaid Barbie and a cane. So like things like that are of interest can be noted. And it gives you space to note the number of people that are around and youth that are present as well. So this is a little bit less comprehensive than the Ocean Conservancy app, simply because there's less space on a paper, but it does have several categories of debris that you can choose from here. So once you have, if you have this, we will include these data forms in our cleanup kits unless you request that we do not. And again, if you are not a Puget Sound Keeper like hosted event, but you would like a copy of these, I do have copies in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. So if you would like some, please let me know and I can get you connected with those as well. And then this, how to dispose of your trash, will kind of vary based on where you are. Again, we run most of our cleanups at Soundkeeper within Seattle city limits. But common sense, if you're anywhere that's a public space and there's a dumpster or a public receptacle that's available to you and there's room in it, go ahead and dispose of your trash bags there. That's the easiest way to do that. You can place up to one bag, like full bag, beside a public litter can near you. I think that applies to anywhere, not just Seattle city limits. If you have 2 or more bags and your collection point is within Seattle city limits, you can use that QR code on the bright yellow bag that we provide. And that takes you right to the Adopt a Street Litter Cleanup page that you can report your trash to. And we do ask that you use Puget Sound Keeper as the organization name for that. If you're running an event outside of Seattle, make sure you're aware of trash disposal requirements. We can help with that, but generally you would contact your public works department or your waste disposal department, and they can guide you to the correct space. If there's any questions on how to do that, again, we can help. We've run cleanups well outside city limits, so we can get you connected with those resources. And then, like I said before, if you have not set up a date with us and you are interested in what you see here and you want to get some experience with ICC or running a cleanup or community science data collection, and you haven't scheduled something, it is not too late. You can coordinate with me at any time between September through December. And what that looks like is we'll help you find a date, a time, and a location. And if you're in Seattle city limits, I do have a city contact that I can make sure you have permission to run a location or run a cleanup at that location. We don't really put a limit on the number of volunteers that people can have at their events. However, we are limited in the amount of supplies that we can provide. So in general, we provide a cleanup kit that has about 10 trash grabbers, enough bags for 10 people, and like a big bag of reusable gloves and things like that. If you're creative with your resource use, you can double up and make that go a lot farther. And if you do have more than 10 or 20 people and you want to have a few more supplies, we can make that happen as well. If you are running a PSK cleanup, like a canoe cleanup or a host your own kit, and you haven't scheduled a time to pick up supplies for that event, please coordinate a time with me. I'll provide my email here in the next slide. And then you will, at that time, you'll coordinate a time to pick up and also drop off supplies to our office as well. And here is my contact information. So my email is just my first name, Aaron at PugetSoundkeeper.org. For planning purposes, if you're coming to pick up supplies from us, we're at 130 Nickerson Street, which is in North Queen Anne on the Ship Canal. And you'll meet us at our office and we'll get you squared away with your supplies. For more general information about Soundkeeper's events, you can check out our International Coastal Cleanup page. We have a dedicated page that lists all the events that we're hosting, as well as all the events that we are promoting throughout September, October, and onward. So those are all listed there. You can also check out our social media throughout the season. We're going to be posting and promoting cleanups that happen as they pop up. So I would imagine that throughout the season, we're going to get more people interested and we'll have people hosting cleanups throughout the season that are not listed on that page. So they'll pop up on our social media as they come up. And then for general information about Ocean Conservancy and the International Coastal Cleanup itself, you can visit their webpage, which is linked there. And I can also provide that in a different form later if that is helpful.